So, okay. Okay. Not my day. Not my day. So I accidentally turned off my other video somehow when I was moving my phone. And now I gotta somehow try to figure out how to merge the two again. So, this might be a separate video. I don't know. I did it last time, so it shouldn't have to be, but here we go. Okay. I haven't even got water or bud, nothing for this. Baby, you're my best friend. Just don't look at my spots, because I know that's what I'm looking at. So if I'm looking at it, you're looking at it. Okay, where were we? Chapter 3? Does anybody want to give us a brief synopsis of what happened? If I remember correctly, and I probably don't, she lives in a small town. This guy, she's like gardening his house because she like remembers him from something. And like they met and he's like super like neurotic and like she's like super messy and like they're just polar opposites. But anyways, chapter 3. Haley pushed her cart down the outdoor aisle of the nursery, tapping the skip button on the music app with her thumb. Next song, next song. She'd gone through everything from Glass Animals to her 90s hip-hop mix and couldn't seem to settle on anything today. After seeing Julian Voss again the afternoon before, she was caught between songs about unrequited crushes, letting go of the past, and hot tub orgies. In other words, she was tad confused. She stopped pushing the cart and stooped down to pick up a bag of potting soil, adding it to her cart with a grunt and continuing on. 15 years later, Julian Voss was still gorgeous. Beyond gorgeous, really, with his ropey forearms. What is a ropey forearm? And perfectly groomed black hair. Those same bourbon brown eyes she remembered in all their intensity and intelligence. She'd actually forgotten how much he towered over her 5'3" frame. And that butt had aged like a Cabernet, full-bodied and, she assumed, delicious. Neither Julian nor his backside had remembered her, however. Hadn't remembered her my ass. Cliche. Sorry, like I said, my throat feels tight. I'm not great tonight, but we persevere. I should not have done my spot correct. I look like I have like a fake made up illness. Like I'm trying to get like sympathy. I'm like, guys, I'm sick. Okay. It's surprise. I hate that her name's Hallie. Have I been calling her Haley? Her name's Hallie. Hallie. Or, yeah, Hallie. I don't know. It's just annoying to read out loud. The teacher was like dripping down my nose. So if you keep seeing me do that, that's what it is. It surprised Hallie. No, it might be Haley. Haley. Whatever. I don't know what I've been saying, but I'm probably going to go back and forth because I apparently can't read. It surprised Hallie how much him forgetting that night crushed her. Sure, she'd always carried a torch for him, but until yesterday she wasn't aware of exactly how bright it burned, or how much it would suck to have it snuffed out by his foggy memory, and his exact oppositeness. Yes, he'd always been studious and structured. She should not have been surprised when he asked her to relocate the begonias. But apparently she created some idea of Julian Voss in her mind that wasn't technically real. The man from her dreams who connected with her on a molecular level and could read her mind, he didn't exist in reality. She built him up into a fantasy that could never play out. Had she been measuring men with the Julian Voss yardstick for 15 years? Who could measure up to a figment of her imagination? Although some stubborn part of her brain refused to accept that he was a flat-out stodgy, I don't know, with a side of arrogance. There is a reason she crushed so hard on him during freshman year of high school, right? Yes. As a senior, he'd been nothing short of brilliant. A shoo-in for valedictorian, a track and field star, a local celebrity, only by virtue of his last name. But those weren't the only qualities that had attracted Haley. Oh, maybe I've always been calling her Haley. But I think it's Hallie, if I'm being honest. But I don't know, my brain just goes immediately to, this is stupid, I don't know why I'm not stuck on this. No, on more than one occasion she witnessed him being good. At the one and only track meet she'd ever attended, he stopped running during a 400-meter dash to help up an opponent who'd fallen and twisted his ankle, thus sacrificing his own opportunity to win. Oh, how heroic. He was a decent human being. The bar is low. The bar is low in this book. Okay, so he sacrificed his own opportunity to win. As she held her breath in the stands, he'd done it the same way she'd observed him doing everything else with quiet intensity. Practical movements. That was Julian's way. He broke up fights with a simple line of logic. He'd have his head buried in a book while the senior girls swooned over him from a distance. Hallie had traveled all over the West Coast by that point, on the road, traveling from gig to gig with her mother. She met thousands of strangers, and she never encountered anyone like Julian Voss, so at ease in his good looks and rich with character. Unless her 14-year-old mind had truly embellished the finer points of his personality, if she was asking herself that question, it was probably time to let that crush go. Later tonight, she removed the bookmark of his YouTube lectures. She'd smooth out the dog-eared page containing his senior year photo. How old is she again? She's like in her 30s, right? Should have let that go a long time ago, Queen. It sounds kind of like she peaked. I'm not gonna lie, like she peaked in high school, but to each their own. I'm not connecting with her. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, maybe I haven't gotten far in this for this series. I don't know. Are we calling it a series? But I feel like I haven't been like excited to make these videos because I can't connect with her. But we're 37 pages in, so maybe I don't know her well enough. Okay. She'd smooth out the dog-eared page containing his senior yearbook photo. In order to blot out the memory of their almost kiss, she'd probably require hypnosis, but the recollection of his head dipping towards her, the fiery sky blazing all around them, had already begun receding at the edges. Her chest hurt over the loss of something that had been her companion for so long. The only constant besides her grandmother. But feeling I'm sorry? You're saying that the only constants besides the memory and the love and the relationship you have with your grandmother is the memory of one kiss you had in high school with a guy that you never spoke to again and never saw again? The connection is crazy. Sorry. I'm sorry for those that like need me to straight read this and they're forgetting what's happening and I'm over here having a hard time getting through this. Okay. Her chest hurt over the loss of something that had been her companion for so long, the only constant besides her grandmother. But feeling stupid for nursing a crush on someone who didn't even remember her? Yeah, that stung a lot worse. She knelt down and admired a flock of honeydew green zinnias? I'm gonna look these flowers up and show you guys next time. I've heard of begonias. Zinnias? Honeydew green. No way she could pass them up. Later today, she couldn't remember what time. She was landscaping the front yard of her summer home, preparing it for the arrival of the owners who lived in Los Angeles the rest of the year. They'd requested lots of unique colors, and that was an ask she didn't mind in the slightest. Well, if it isn't the talented Hallie Welch. The familiar voice brought Hallie to her feet, and she smiled warmly at the young man with ginger hair approaching her from the opposite direction. Owen Stark, what on earth are you doing in the nursery buying flowers out from under me? It's like you own a competing landscaping business or something. Oh, you haven't heard? So sorry you have to find out this way. I am your competition. We are mortal enemies. She narrowed her eyes at him. Pistols at dawn, Stark? He slapped a hand across his chest. I'll alert my second. They broke into a mutual laughter and traded places so they could see what the other had picked up. Oh, I'll have to grab some of these succulents. Their popularity refuses to wane, doesn't it? I like for them for window boxes. Why did you speak like this? Like, she's 30 going on 80. Like, why did their popularity refuses to wane? I don't know. Something about it. She's got old lady tendencies. But at the same time, she's a mess. Like, she's 16. She's giving 16-year-old mindset and maturity and 80-year-old hobbies and phrases. Okay. I've got a client requesting them along his walkway. White stone. Low maintenance special. Table for one? Owen chuckled and fell silent. Hallie gave him a smile on her way back to her own cart, trying not to notice the way he catalogued her features, the piercing blue of his eyes softening along with his expression. She liked Owen. A lot. Surely a better match for Hallie didn't exist anywhere in the world, on paper at least. They were both gardeners, they could talk flora and fauna until they were blue in the face. He was kind, the same age, good-looking. There was nothing not to like. But she might as well admit that Owen Stark had fallen victim to the Julian Voss barometer. That and Owen would fit into her life seamlessly. He'd make perfect sense in a way that was too perfect. A relationship with Owen would be natural, expected. The person who coined the term settling down probably had this exact kind of partnership in mind. And settling down meant this was it. Okay, I really need to double check, because I'm pretty sure she's in her 30s, right? Why is she acting like she's, like, freshly out of high school? Okay, I don't feel like going back through this, but maybe they didn't say how old she is, but I don't know. She's talking like she's, like, not that, like, 30's old, but anyways. She'd be a gardener from St. Helena and would remain one for the rest of her life. Did she want that? Her heart said yes, but could she trust that feeling? When Hallie came to live with Rebecca, she had taken a deep breath for the first time ever, her grandmother's routine grounding her, giving her a firm place to settle her feet, to stop spinning like a top. Without Rebecca's anchoring presence, though, she was picking up speed again, worrying she'd only belong in St. Helena because of Rebecca. And now, Owen cleared his throat, alerting Hallie to the fact that she drifted. Sorry, she muttered, attempting to focus on him, consider him. Maybe next time he'd asked her out, she would say yes. And she would wear a dress and perfume, hire a dog sitter, take it seriously this time. This time? How many times has this guy asked her out? There's something in my hair. It's probably freaking the acne stuff. Now we're stringing this man along. Should play him his feelings. Owen popped a tablet of gum into his mouth, chewed a moment, and exhaled at the ceiling. Oh, this was serious. He was going to go for a steakhouse. What the hell does that mean? Why had she left the dogs at home? They were always the perfect excuse to bolt. Hallie? Owen started, red fusing in his cheeks. Since it's Friday and all, I was wondering if you had plans for... Her phone rang. She sucked in a thankful breath and snatched it up, frowning down at the screen. Unknown number? So what? She'd even take a telemarketer over agreeing to a steakhouse date and hours of personal conversation with Owen. Oh, I guess in the past he's asked about going to steakhouse, so she knew that's what he was going to ask? I don't know. Am I supposed to know that? Like, there's no context. No one's ever told me that. How am I supposed to know that? Hello? Hallie chirped into the phone. Hallie? Her stomach dropped to the ground like a sandbag. I'm sure you can guess who's calling. Julian Voss. Julian was calling her? Yes, it's me. Did her voice sound unnatural? She couldn't decipher her tone over the sudden babble of white noise in her ears. How did you get my number? I googled Becca's Blooms in Napa, and there it was. Oh, right. She wet her dry lips, searching desperately for something witty to say. So important to have that internet presence. Nope, that wasn't witty. Who is that? Owen asked, not so quietly. Who is that? Julian asked, too, after a beat. Client, she mouthed to Owen, who gave her an understanding thumbs up. To Julian, she said, I'm at the nursery buying materials for a project later today. I ran into my friend Owen. I see. Seconds ticked by. She checked the phone to see if they'd gotten disconnected. Are you still there? Yes. Sorry. He cleared his throat, but the sound was muffled as if he briefly placed a hand over the receiver. I'm distracted by the gopher holes in my yard. Her blood pressure spiked at the utterance of a gardener's least favorite words. Except for maybe weeds or crabgrass, or do you take personal checks? Gopher holes? Owen winced with sympathy, turning away to peruse a plastic shelf of mini cactuses. Yeah, at least 3. She could hear footsteps as if he'd walked to the window to look out over the green expanse of lawn and the sun-drenched vineyard beyond. One of them is right in the middle of the flowers you planted yesterday, which made me think you dealt with something of this nature before. Do you have a way of convincing gophers to move on? Or should I call pest control? No need for that. I have a mixture I can use to... The seal busted on her laugh. Convince them. Okay. He made a considering sound. You're taking issue with my word choice? No, not at all. I'm picturing a formal negotiation. Once the contracts are signed, we'll shake his little paw. He'll pack his tiny suitcase and promise to write, You're very entertaining, Hallie. Briefly, she heard a ticking, as if he lifted his watch closer to his face. I'm sorry, I only have 5 minutes for this phone call. Are you able to make it over, or should I just try and flush him out with the hose? He said, yeah. Are you coming? I have 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes to get back, and then I have 30 minutes to write, and then I have 5 minutes to have a possible another conversation. Something tells me this man schedules his shits. And let me tell you, he's not in for shits and giggles. Because she was a little funny with that. I'm not gonna lie. She kind of ate. He couldn't give her a little chuckle, a little time to finish the sentence. God, no, don't do that. She cut a hand across her neck even though he couldn't see her. You're only softening the soil and making it easier for him to dig. Owen shot her a horrified glance over his shoulder. Amateur, he mouthed. I have a job this afternoon, but I can swing by afterwards, she said to Julian. At what time? Whenever I finish. Men. Sorry, I dropped the bookmark. That's not a bookmark. Okay, I don't know where it went. Baby. What the hell? Hello? I guess I'm gonna have to use something else as a bookmark, because I don't know where it went. Oh well. Oh well. Okay, I don't know. Julian breath released in her ear. That's extremely vague. How could it be so painfully obvious that someone was all wrong for her, yet his deep voice and the very fact that he called her at all was causing a mudslide in her stomach? It made little to no sense. Her lingering crush made her feel like a silly, naive teenager. She said it, not me. While at the same time, the anticipation of seeing him again made Hallie almost lightheaded. So she would let herself go to the vineyard once more, even at the risk of extending his infatuation longer than it should have ever gone. But she wasn't going to jump over hurdles for him. Oh, no. At this point, her pride was on the line with this non-remembering fool. Vague is all I've got, I'm afraid. She stared into the eye of an iris for moral support. Take it or leave it. He was going to tell her to shove it. She convinced herself of that distinct possibility as the silence stretched. The Voss family had money coming out of their ears. They could find someone else to resolve their gopher issue at a moment's notice. Julian didn't necessarily need her. I'll see you later, Hallie. God knows when. Why? She blurted. Excuse me? Why couldn't she just have said goodbye and hung up the phone like a regular person? Owen was looking at her strangely, as if maybe he realized this wasn't a normal client call and was growing more curious by the moment. Why do you want me there, specifically, for gopher negotiations? It obviously bothers you that I can't give a formal time. That's a very straightforward question for someone so committed to being vague. Is this man a robot? I'm not committed to... She was committed to being vague? Please just satisfy my curiosity. Is your friend Owen still there? What is happening? Like, what is that? Oh, I found it. Like, what is actually happening? Okay. Was he? She glanced up, passing a tight smile to Owen, who was definitely attempting to eavesdrop. Yes, he is. Why? Just satisfying my curiosity. She could almost hear the ticking of his jaw. Was he annoyed at her being somewhere with another man? No way. That didn't track, not even in the slightest. Very well. Yes, I want you, specifically, to come back and intervene with the gopher. When you left yesterday, you said, it was really nice to see you again, and the fact that I can't remember how or where we met has shot my concentration to hell. Oh, shit. I'm not admitting that. Oh. Well, she hadn't been expecting that. In fact, she'd been under the impression he was relieved to see her go and couldn't care less about greetings and salutations. Greetings and salutations. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was going to be such a big deal. I'm sure it wouldn't be, to most people. Hallie thought of the meticulous way he stacked his lecture notes, how precisely he rolled up his shirt sleeves, the way he couldn't stop writing until the time ran out. But you need things organized and tidy, don't you? He exhaled a breath. That's right. That's all this was. Julian didn't want to see her again because of an attraction or because he enjoyed her company. He simply needed their acquaintance tied up in a neat little bow so he could go back to his manic typing sprees. Maybe she needed their relationship, however casual, tied up too. The gopher wasn't the only one who needed moving on. All right, she swallowed the object in her throat. Maybe I'll tell you how we know each other later. Vague. Bye, Julian. When she hung up the phone, Owen gave her a questioning look. That was a weird conversation, he chuckled. Right? She pushed her cart past him slowly. Gophers put everyone on edge. Metal rattled behind Hallie, signaling that Owen had turned his cart around so they could walk in the same direction. Normally that wouldn't bother her. Not at the nursery anyway, where colorful flowers shot up out of the dirt everywhere she looked, acting as bright little buffers. But before the call from Julian, Owen had been on the verge of asking her out, and she'd been resigned to saying yes. Now, though, she hesitated. Once again, because of Julian Voss. Man, she really needs to get Professor Forearms out of her head, once and for all. She wasn't being fair to herself, or to Owen for that matter. At least she's self-aware. I will give her that. Owen, Hallie stopped the car abruptly and turned, looking him right in the eye, which seemed to stun him. I know you want to ask me to dinner. Okay, full of yourself much? On an actual date, and I want to say yes, but I need a little time. She just said she shouldn't be stringing this man along. Julian's intense... Keep in mind, she's talking to Owen. Julian's intense bourbon eyes blinked in her mind, but instead of stalling her speech, they gave her the impetuous to push forward. That's asking a lot considering how much space you've given me already. If you say no, I'll understand. I'm not going to say no, he scrubbed at the back of his head. Of course I'm not. You take your time. A beat passes, he sobered. I'm just asking you to take me seriously. His words hit her like stones. I will, she said, meaning it. I'm going to tell you right now, that's the end of chapter 3. That's the end for tonight. I know, I'm leaving you on a cliffhanger. We have so much more to go. But I can tell you right now she's not taking this man seriously, and she never will, because we all know that she ends up with Julian because it's a rom-com. Not really seeing much of the com. And she's stringing this man along, and she knows she's stringing him along. So, not nice, girly pop. Not nice. Baby, you're my best friend. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, that was chapter 3 of Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. I'm gonna try this weekend to maybe get in 2-3 more chapters. So, you don't have to wait long for a little bit more from this point of my videos. I don't know when I'm going to be able to finish the reading of Never Lie with the synopsis and telling the story and my reactions and stuff like that. But I think I am going to do like a murder board, and I think that's going to take me some time, so I don't have a deadline on that. And you don't get to give me a deadline because I do what I want when I want. Also, did I ever show you guys this little guy? He just stares at me while I'm doing these videos. And he stares at me while I'm reading my Kindle. Because this is the thing I'm using to talk and hold up my phone. This is my Kindle holder. I showed you guys it, I'm pretty sure, in a video. So, the holder thing has like a little net. And I have to like push and get it in. So. But how cute is this? It came today. I know you're thinking, like, who am I? I'm not an actual videoer, so why do I have one of these? But I do what I want, and I wanted it, and I really hope you can hear me. We're testing it out. Thanks for staring at my crazy pimply face, and thanks for going on this wild ride with me tonight, and I will see you soon. Bye, lovelies. Love you.